This video is sponsored by Normandy 1998, Christopher Mitchell, 212th Trooper, Sylar 1610 and Ash. Taking to the sky in Glorio's plane, the trio of Goku, Shin and Dabura all settle in for what they imagine will be a long flight, while taking this moment to discuss the situation with their new companion. From this they learn that it is King Kadan of the third demon world who has summoned them, with Dabura finding it curious that the king would seek his help, as he's not exactly popular in the third world. In his stoic manner, Glorio deflects that he didn't ask why, he just took the job, with this seeming satisfactory to the group as they draw near to Sir Warp, floating in the depths of space. Like in canon, Shin has to keep Goku's more exuberant and impertinent tendencies from annoying the giant fish, as well as giving him fake demon ears, though here he also has Dabura's help, with the king somewhat stuffily chiding Goku to mind his manners. Though it seems this will not be the only hassle they face, so when they pass through Sir Warp's mouth, they are asked for a passcode in order to gain passage to the demon realm. Confidently, Dabura gives his personal code, as this will grant them direct access to the first demon world, at which point it will be child's play to stroll into the palace and depose Goma, as while the little imp is crafty, he's not all that strong. However, to the king's chagrin, this code is rejected, with the surly fish explaining the royal code was altered at Supreme King Goma's order, a claim which turns Dabura's pink face an angry red, as he growls the sneaky little varlet has changed the locks on him. Thankfully, Glorio does have a code for the third demon world, with this seemingly being the best they're going to get, though as Dabura and Shin both point out, this means they'll have to take the long way to Goma's palace. In truth, this doesn't bother Goku, as he's excited to check out this demon realm place, even leaving the plane as soon as he can fly through the air, which he finds surprisingly heavy when compared to Earth's. Worried that his Saiyan friend will get himself into trouble, Dabura follows, with the pair soon catching sight of a large statue of the Demon King himself. Good-naturedly, Goku grins that maybe the pink-skinned monarch is better liked than he thought if they have a statue of him, though shaking his head regretfully, Dabura refutes that he ordered this statue made under pain of death as a means of stroking his own ego. Truth be told, he was not always the best king, or the best person, but thanks to the friends he's made since coming to Earth, he likes to believe he's become a better one, and he hopes that by saving his people from that conniving sneak Goma, they will see that, so someday they might actually want to build statues of him. In contrast to the melancholy this reflection has cast over Dabura, Goku remains as positive as ever, slapping his demon buddy on the back and laughing that statues are overrated anyway. Chi-Chi and Gohan once told him there's one of him in some museum, but they couldn't get the face right. Chuckling a little too at this, Dabura smiles that Goku truly is wise, and he will endeavor to adopt his same modesty in the future, though it seems this moment of quiet contemplation will not last long, as in the distance they hear a crash, accompanied by a plume of black smoke, and so blast off to investigate. To their chagrin, the pair find the source of the commotion to be none other than their plane, as due to needing more seats, Kadan had given Glorio the large junker, which has unfortunately given up the ghost at last, meaning the rest of their journey will need to be either by air or on foot. Fortunately, due to the extra training Goku did in this timeline, he and Dabura are able to fly for longer, so they're only a bit slower than the plane, while the heavy air is entirely natural to Glorio, with only Shin struggling to keep pace. Though this is easily remedied, as by using his magic materialization, Dabura quickly creates a baby carrier that Glorio reluctantly puts on, while Shin even more reluctantly gets inside. Thanks to this, the group do make it to town a few hours after nightfall, with the very red-faced Shin being eager to find some accommodation for the evening. Following Glorio's lead, the trio of kids head into a rather dingy-looking motel where their blue-skinned guide attempts to hire them a couple of rooms, only to be dismayed at the proprietor's evident extortion. Seeing another chance to help, Dabura swaggers forward and after floating upwards so he can be eye-level with the hotel owner, introduces himself and suggests that if the demon were to allow them free board for the night, he would be handsomely rewarded for his generosity once he, Dabura, has reclaimed his rightful throne. However, this is only met with derisive laughter, as the hotel demon jeers that he ain't Dabura, he's just some mouthy brat. A little flustered by this treatment, the mini-monarch attempts to show the proprietor his cape, which is the symbol of office here in the demon realm, though this too is met with laughs and scorn, as the owner retorts that just because the kid tied some dishcloth to his back don't make him king. Though if he wants a discount, he's got some pots in the back he can scrub clean with that thing. Thankfully, it is at this point that Glorio steps in to end Dabura's humiliation, surreptitiously flashing his holstered pistol, with this being enough to change the manager's tune as he offers them a much fairer price, and even throws in a little piece of candy for the kid to make up for giving him a hard time. At the sight of this tiny bit of food, Goku's stomach begins to growl, with him whining that they haven't eaten all day, causing Glorio to agree they should probably get something to eat before turning in. Heading over to a nearby cantina, the group of four sit down, with Goku and Dabura both enjoying some burgers, though when the Saiyan asks what's in them, the king replies it's probably best if he doesn't know. Unfortunately, before either can finish their meal, a group of demon hoodlums decide to jump them, having spotted Goku's round ears and concluded he's not from around here. However, this is a terribly poor decision, since not only does this earn them the Saiyan's ire as he beats the ever-loving snot out of them with little more than his bare hands and a couple of plates, but Glorio and Dabura are both quick to assist, with the blue-skinned demon taking out the largest member of the group, while Dabura summons his sword to cross blades with a reptilian one wielding a large axe. Against such seasoned fighters, the thugs stand no chance, though for good measure, Shin does suggest they leave town bright and early tomorrow to avoid any reprisal. As they have no plane, this next leg of the journey is undertaken on foot, as even with prolonged flight times, they will still not be able to fly all the way to Kadan's castle, and as Glorio points out, it is probably for the best if they don't burn through all their energy before meeting the capricious king. For the most part, this stretch goes like canon, though when they stop off at the tea shop to try and purchase a plane, Dabura is able to explain all the medibugs to Goku, with Glorio still buying a few, along with a ride on a sky seed that puts them about half a day's walk from the castle. However, this is not an entirely peaceful stroll, as when they reach the next town, they discover they are not the only visitors, with the Gendarmerie military police having also come to call. Though, in their case, it might be more accurate to say they are here to extort the locals, demanding an even higher tax than during Dabura's reign, or else a portion of the village's lifespan for non-compliance. Angered by such needless greed and cruelty, Goku, Shin and Dabura all want to act, though before they can, a masked figure beats them to the punch, crying her contempt for these tyrants as she throws a wasabi bomb that does nothing. Recognizing that she may be in over her head, the figure then attempts to run, though is quickly cornered by the Gendarmerie, with it only being thanks to the timely intervention of Goku and Dabura that she does not suffer a most grisly fate. Figuring that his friend will be eager to test himself against these new enemies, Dabura tells Goku to hold them off while he rescues the young maiden, a term the masked figure does not appreciate, though when Dabura grabs her hand and flees, she does not resist. Meanwhile, Goku at last gets to show off the fruits of his training with the power pole, making short work of the cops and joining up with his friends as they begin making their escape, though neither Shin nor Glorio are too happy about the fact that they're presumably on the Gendarmerie's radar now. Only when they're out of harm's way do they get a look at the masked girl, who is revealed to be a blue-skinned demon named Pansy who reminds Dabura a lot of Bulma with her spunky attitude and knack for designing stuff. Unfortunately, it seems Glorio is not impressed, as he is quick to instruct the girl not to follow them, though upon overhearing they're heading for King Kadan's castle, she announces her intent to tag along, much to the white-haired man's annoyance. However, it seems Glorio isn't the only one Pansy will upset this trip, as like in canon, she denounces Goma while also revealing she didn't like Dabura much either, causing the king to hang his head and grow gloomy, since while he understands intellectually that he wasn't universally beloved as ruler, to have someone say they don't like him to his face is rather hurtful. Spotting this, Pansy asks what's wrong with the demon boy, to which Shin hastily makes an excuse, saying that he's just tired and hungry. Understanding this, Pansy goes back to speaking with Goku and Glorio, allowing the god and demon king to hang back a little, with the former explaining that outside of meetings with people like King Kadan who they know is their ally, it's probably best if Dabura not reveal who he is, with this being why he's only introduced himself as Shin, and not the Supreme Kai since coming here. Nodding, Dabura calls this a wise plan, while also expressing his gratitude for the Kai looking out for him considering their history. Not long after this, the now 5-man band arrive at Kadan Castle, where they are initially met with hostility until Pansy reveals herself, with it coming to light that she too has a secret, that she is Kadan's daughter and the royal heir of the third demon realm. Thanks to this, the group are able to enter the king's throne room without any further issues, though their welcome is admittedly less than warm, as King Kadan expresses shock and confusion that Glorio brought him mere kids when he promised warriors who could defeat Majin Buu. At once, both Shin and Dabura noticed the strangeness of this reaction, as Glorio had said he'd been tasked with getting Goku and Dabura specifically, yet the monarch does not seem to know who either of them are, or that they were turned into children. In fact, from context clues, it seems Glorio approached Kadan, which means he's not been entirely honest with the Z fighters, with the pink and purple pair agreeing to keep an eye out for more duplicity. Though, right now, it seems Dabura will be the one under scrutiny, as when Glorio names him, the entire throne room falls silent, save for Kadan, who booms that the mercenary must take him for a fool. This boy couldn't be more than 80 or 90 years old. How does Glorio expect him to believe that he is the ruthless Demon King? Stepping forth, Dabura gives a humble bow, as he states that while he understands King Kadan's doubt, he is the genuine article, and would be happy to prove it if it will set his host's mind at ease. In this, Dabura had meant something like a courtly etiquette test, or trivia on the Demon Realm's history, though being a warrior king, Kadan has something else in mind: combat against his most skilled guards. and so it is the mini-monarch takes Goku's place in the demonstration match, though like with the Saiyan, this is less of a fight and more of a trouncing, as figuring the best way to prove his legitimacy is through a technique only he knows. Dabura gathers up saliva in his mouth and hawks several loogies at his opponents, shameful though it may be. As expected, each person who is hit by this is promptly turned to stone, with those who remain being loath to fight the child. However, when Kadan starts bellowing at them, a few of the braver ones do, with Dabura therefore meeting them with sword in hand. As these so-called guards are little more than ragtag bandits, there is hardly any strategy to their attack, as they simply bunch up and charge, though this is fine by the Demon King, who uses this to his advantage, leaping over their heads while his blade clashes against theirs and then belching a torrent of flame when he lands. This is more than enough to take out the majority, who collapse on their backs looking scorched but mercifully still alive, though to the few that are still standing, Dabura bestows his compliments, as well as his apologies, since their fight ends here. Then, with a wide sweep of both hands, he delivers his final attack. Though at first it seems as though he's done nothing at all, that is until his foe's armor starts to fall off, having been cleanly sliced at every strap, with their weapons doing likewise a moment later, as they clatter to the ground in tiny, perfectly even pieces. This comes as a tremendous shock to the fighters, and to most of the spectators, though having seen this before, Goku just giggles as he recognizes Dabura's ki needles. From his position above the arena, Kadan at last calls an end to the fighting, conceding that this kid truly must be Dabura, having exhibited 3 of his signature techniques as well as his proficiency with a sword. He just hopes his king can forgive him for doubting him. In his usual pompous tone, the Pink Demon tells his subject to think nothing of it, as he has learned that trust must be earned and that forgiveness is a true virtue, though if he may impose on King Kadan, he would be most grateful for his aid in removing Goma from the throne and rescuing his friend Dende who has been abducted. Despite these kind words, Kadan has no desire to anger Dabura after what he's heard about him coupled with what he's just seen, and so hastily agrees, though he's afraid his forces may be somewhat diminished, considering Dabura did just turn several of his best people to stone. Chuckling heartily, the smaller demon tells him not to worry about that, since he does have a way to reverse the petrification process. As it turns out, this is his earwax, as by wiping a bit on someone who has been turned to stone, they will immediately return to life, with each of the guards gratefully thanking Dabura as he unfreezes them. With this settled, all that remains is to begin making steps towards reaching the first demon world, though Goku insists they make several detours along the way to collect the demon realm's Dragon Balls from the dreaded Tamagami, especially once he learns they have to be fought in order to retrieve their ball. Here Dabura is somewhat hesitant, as even he was never strong enough to defeat them during his time as king, though remembering how powerful Goku is, and that he will soon be joined by Vegeta, not to mention the fact that Goku will probably do it whether he likes it or not, he does eventually relent and agree to this plan. In an attempt to make this easier and curry favor with the rightful Supreme Demon King, Kadan offers to steal them a new plane, as the one he has left is too small for all 4 of the travelers, not to mention Pansy, who has decided she will be continuing as a member of their group. Unfortunately, this will mean a slight delay as planes are a rare resource in this world. In the meantime, Kadan invites the group to get comfortable here in his castle and enjoy a banquet, something Goku is eager to accept. Meanwhile, Shin, Dabura and Gloria are introduced to the demon who will be their pilot, an odd-looking fellow named Hybus, though truthfully Dabura isn't paying attention to his appearance, as the moment he catches sight of him, his gaze goes directly to his belt. Somehow, in spite of all the improbability, there is the item he lost years ago, the one that would have secured his rule over the demon realm forever. There is the evil third eye. And that's where we'll leave things for now. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts, suggestions, or screams of rage in the comments below.